welcome to Imola, home of Formula One's Italian Grand Prix, a circuit shrouded in plenty of history. Today, the Lotus 49s take to the track where a full field of Grand Prix Legends drivers will take their shot at the top of the podium. Will Rob Olenek get his third straight, or can Mick Claridge get to the top step for the first time this season? Only time will tell here on the Global Sim Racing channel. Hi, I'm Chad Irvine. Here with me today is Ryan Walker. Behind the scenes is our director, Sean Ambrose, and cameras are provided by Dougie Beard. Let's step aside for a moment and take a look at this week's track guide.
Welcome to the Autodromo Internazionale Enzo e Dino Ferrari, but most race fans know this place as simply Imola. This circuit in the northern part of Italy has seen some of the highest highs and lowest lows in motorsports history. The various tragedies that have marred the track left no choice but to alter it in the name of safety. While it originally featured mostly fast, sweeping corners, its modern 3-mile or 5-kilometer version is punctuated by tricky chicanes and incredibly technical turns. iRacing includes the Grand Prix layout and a moto version, which adds one more chicane to the front stretch. Tamburello is perhaps the most notorious of the corners for claiming the life of multi-time world champion Ayrton Senna when it was still a single breathtaking turn. Now the Triple Apexer not only offers potential passing opportunities, but catches out drivers quite frequently. While heavy braking zones are everywhere, because few places allow the cars to get up to speed, overtaking is generally seen as an exercise in frustration. As if to almost counteract this quality, the track itself is situated in a gorgeous public park and sends the drivers through the beautifully calming Italian countryside. It also includes a fair bit of elevation change in which the track is split between the higher up back half and the lower first portion. It's no wonder that this place still proves popular with drivers and fans in spite of its difficulties in history. The Tifosi keep returning each and every time the sound of engines roar among the trees, and who can blame them?
Ryan, it's been a fantastic season. Talk us through this track a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. This fantastic Imola track has been around for, well, basically a really long time, and it's went through a host of layout changes and track changes in the past. Most famously, it went through changes after the unfortunate death of Ayrton Senna in 1994. And this is the current layout that we've got today. And the track is 3.05 miles in length, and it's got 17 turns with the with the layout being the JP layout. And the passing zones for this track is going to be possibly into Tamburello, Tosa and Ravazza. They're possibly your best chance of making a move. But the danger zones possibly could be Acqua Minerale or Variante Alta or even Ravazza. So those corners you can make a move into, but it's got to require a lot of cooperation between the drivers, and if you get it wrong through those corners, it can go horribly wrong.
Yeah, and these guys have put on a very fantastic bit of racing all season long, and they're all competing for the championship here in the Grand Prix Legends. So let's take a look at your F1 championship, where Rob Olenek is still at the top step with a 15-point lead now over Topi Courtniemi. Those two drivers are the only two guys to win so far this season. Rabo taking 3 wins and Topi with the 4th. Then Mick Claridge, he's got 3 third-place finishes and hasn't been off the podium yet with 30 points off the lead. Then Ove Trengray and Bill Tyler well behind, but still less than 100 points back.
Yep, absolutely. And in the F2 Championship, it's currently being led by Finland's Pekka Risto, who's pretty much been in command up at the front in that championship, followed by another Finnish driver in second place, Heikki Koivisto, with France Emmanuel Pereira in third. And rounding out the rest of the positions in that championship is Dave Cohen from United States and another United States driver, Michael Grinziger, in fifth place. So still really close in that championship, but it looks like it's going to be between the 2 Finnish drivers up at the top.
Yeah, still plenty of battles to be fought there in the F2 Championship. And also taking a look at our Nations Cup, where the United States is on top there, of course, being led by Rob Olenek. And then Finland in second, 15 points back. Then the United Kingdom, Norway, and Germany wrapping up the top 5. So drivers going out right now for their warm-up laps. So far, nobody has completed their laps yet. That's a look at Mick Claridge, who we've talked about just doing a great job all season long. Still in the hunt there, as we talked about, for the championship. And himself, Rob Olenek, and I feel like we're missing one of our top racers here today, because I'm not seeing... I'm trying to figure out who we are missing. Just trying to quickly taking... We're missing Ove Trengere, that's who it is. I was very confused on that, but he is not in the race today, which is interesting. Usually he's part of that three-guy fight at the front of the field, but right now the number 3 car being driven by Michel Dudenon. So we'll have to see if he can jump up and lead there. Toby Courtniemi, of course, in the number 4 machine as well. These guys have all been very competitive all season long. Some familiar names, some new ones throughout the field as well. But Michel Dudenon right now, just taking his time out there. This is his first flying lap out on track, so we'll have to wait for him to come across the line and see where he turns in his first lap.
Yeah, absolutely. Currently on his first flying lap at the moment, and they're coming around the final corner and onto the home straight, which is not really a home straight, it's sort of a home straight or home kink, if you like, just coming through here as he comes up to the line. And it looks to be a pretty good lap at the moment at 1:39.747. So up Michel Dudenon to the top.
Yeah, it's a very interesting front straightaway, and as a driver, Ryan, what is a straightaway like that where it has a bunch of kinks and curves to it? How does that impact your driving?
I think it's one of those kind of sections of the track that you really need to get a great run on. As the new person on pole position, Topi Courtniemi, up at the top, and Rob Olenek coming around the final corner. But yeah, it's one of those parts of the track you need a really good run on, and it's kind of it's a weird part of the track, I find, anyway, just because you're turning right and then you're going straight and then turning right, sort of.
Yeah, it's definitely a little off setting as a driver the first time you're running this track. It's very considerable right-hand kink to it. It's not so much some of those turns that we might see. We've seen a couple of straightaways that have slight kinks. This one is very noticeable. Rob Olenek, though, goes to the top of the charts. Here comes Douglas Nelson with just a couple more corners to go. We'll have to see where he turns in his lap. Mick Claridge, he's going through that same part of the track, coming out through Rivazza, and come just a couple more kinks here, and he's going to come across the line, see where he turns in his lap.
Yep, coming around the final corner now, and I think it might have been just been an out lap by the looks of it, as he's coming across the line now to start his second lap, as we've got about 2 minutes and 50 seconds left in the session.
Yeah, that's very interesting to watch these guys, because we've seen a lot of different tracks so far throughout this season. We've had a couple of high-speed drafting tracks. We've had a couple of tracks, especially like here at Imola, where you've got the full throttle parts, but the turns are very, very technical, especially Acque Minerali and Rivazza. Rivazza, of course, the double left-hander to come to the line. If you don't get that one right, you're in for a world of hurt down this long curved straightaway.
Indeed, as Rob Olenek comes across the line now to finish his lap, and he's still at the moment on pole position, but he doesn't improve.
And there you see Grinzinger turning in his lap. Did not have the pace to improve, so he pulls it down pit lane. Dave Cohen working his way through. We'll have to see, because he has not set a time yet here in qualifying, and he's got about half a lap still to go on his run. Lap time's coming in. It's still Rob Olenek. He's turned in all three of his at the top speed of 1:38.863. Still waiting to see still waiting to see Mick Claridge turn in a lap time. I haven't seen him across the stripe yet. He's just now coming out of Rivazza. But here's Dave Cohen trying to set a time for himself, and it's a 1:43.384. Here's Mick Claridge with a 139.305. So that's good enough for P3 right now. He must have had an off track in his first lap, because that was his second lap just to set his time for the first time.
Yep, as Lewis Thorne comes across the line now, but I don't think it might be his second lap now as Hideki Koivisto comes across the line now, and yeah, he's doesn't improve as Eugenio Massa's coming across the line now to finish his lap, and still stays in 16th place at the moment.
Only a handful of drivers have yet to turn in a time. Looks like Dave Cohen is working on his second flying lap. He's probably not going to make it around the track in time. He's only got, he's definitely not going to be able to get his second lap turned in on time. So qualifying about to come to an end here, and Rob Olenek with yet another pole. But this Imola track is set to provide some amazing racing for us. Drivers, of course, at the moment wishing each other all the best of luck over the radio, and it's going to be fun to watch them. It's a very fun community as we take a look here at our starting grid for this 20-lap race at Imola. Starting out on the pole, a man that's run up front quite a bit this season, number 1 of Rob Olenek. He came in with a 138.863. Then Topi Courtniemi on the outside of row number 2. Mick Claridge in third with Michel Dudouin in the 4th spot on row number 2. Then Bill Tyler and Antti Kiernan in row 3. Pekka Risto and Robert Plumley in row number 4, and Laust Olsen and John Olsen wrapping up the top 10.
Starting in 11th is Will McDonald alongside him, and 12th is Gwendolyn Old. 13th is Chris Marikami with Gary Teo alongside him in 14th. 15th is Hideki Koivisto with Eugenio Massa in 16th. 17th, Steve O'Malley. 18th is Roland Wallbank. 19th is Dave Cohen. Michael Grinziger in 20th. Andrew N. 21st. 22nd, Baron Nekas. Lewis Tolan in 23rd. 24th is Douglas Nelson. And rounding out the grid at the back is the back row man himself, Robert Reynolds.
And as always, a standing start here in the Grand Prix Legends with Rob Olenek starting on the pole. And he's had some very great starts. It's usually the front three kind of just pulling away right away at the start. So we'll have to see. 3 drivers, of course, did not turn in times. That's all your final 3 of Tolan, Nelson, and Reynolds. But looks like everybody has gone to the grid. And the revs are starting to rise, the lights are on, and we are green here at Imola for 20 laps of Grand Prix Legends racing in the Lotus 49. So far, things look pretty clean through the first half of the field.
Oh!
And there's trouble in the back almost, but fantastic catch there. And it looks like everybody's still pointed in the right direction.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, sorry to cut you off there, Chad. I thought I was going to end up even more worse. As it looks like someone went in the inside of Rob Olenek there. It looked like Bill Tyler went up the inside and took too much curb there and got a slowdown. But yeah, I'm surprised that that incident in turn 1 never ended up in even worse, as I say.
Yeah, I mean, some of these curbs have those very beefy sausage curves on the inside of them, and there are a couple guys that clip those, and it really upset that car, upset their cars. So it's going to be fun to watch as the leader right now, Topi Courtniemi, about halfway through lap number 1, is really just, got a great start, got through turn 1 cleanly, and he's just kind of trying to lead the way here as he's got a freight train behind him, including Mick Claridge and Rob Olenek actually dropped 3 places now, as Michel Dudouin's gotten around him as well.
Yeah, absolutely. The Topi Courtniemi already starting to build a bit of a gap, but we know what Mick Claridge is like. Once he gets into a rhythm and in the zone, there's no stopping him. So it'll be interesting to see if he can close his gap down to Topi up at the front at the moment. But as he come up to the line now to complete the first lap.
1 lap is in the books, and at the stripe, it was a 1.2 second lead for Topi over Mick Claridge. Then your top 5 is Claridge, Dudouin, Olenek, and Antti Kiernan in the 5th position. Looks like everybody for the first lap has kept themselves out of trouble. Everybody's still rolling here as most of the field works their way through Tamburello on lap number 2. These guys up front, though, absolutely flying. The gap from Courtney to Claridge has closed up considerably as we ride on board here with Mick Claridge. Just kind of working his way. He seemed a little uncomfortable maybe in the pre-race festivities there. Qualifying, it took him a second to get a lap turned in, but when he did, it was good enough for him to start in the 3rd position. So Mick Claridge, of course, seen him a couple times this season, both struggling and having some fantastic drives through the field. But right now, he's got to charge hard to catch back up to Topi Courtniemi. This is a look at the battle for the 3rd position. Rob Olenek there in the number 1 machine, just ahead of Michel Dudonat, the French driver there, and they're about half a second or so behind, apart from each other, and 2 seconds behind second place Mick Claridge. They have a wide gap to the back, though, where you'll find Kiernan in the 5th position.
Yep, absolutely. As they come up to the line now, and yeah, a bit of a disaster for first lap for Rob Olenek after having a great qualifying, but still doing well up at the moment, up in 3rd as Mick Claridge puts in the fastest lap of the race so far, heading into the lap 3.
Yeah, and Mick Claridge cutting some of these corners very tight, but knows how to push the limits without getting those off tracks. These guys really abusing some of these curbs. You'll see the black and yellow kind of sausage curbs, I guess is what you might call them, on the inside of some of the corners. They can definitely upset the car, especially if you catch them with the tire just wrong. So currently working lap number 3, it's Topi Courtniemi leading Mick Claridge, but back here for the 8th spot is Bill Tyler. He's under pressure from John Olsen there in the number 10 car, currently running 10th position. He's got a train of cars behind him with Robert Plumley, McDonald, Gwendolyn Old, a bunch of guys here. That's from 7th on back, and it's a fantastic fight that we're seeing all throughout this field. None of those drivers separated by over a second between them. There you see him, just one car after another. Just absolutely flying through like a Minerale.
Yep, as we come through the final couple of corners now, and yeah, this battle's been pretty close as well. Just in front of this battle as well, you've got Laust Olsen in 7th place as well, so bit of a change starting to form behind Laust, as this time around it's Rob Olenek that puts the fastest lap of the race in so far. So Rob Olnek's not hanging around, but can he close that gap up at the front? Time will tell.
It'll be interesting to see as Topi has put out a gap to Mick Claridge. I think Mick might be trying to get Robbo back in the draft because he has dropped off considerably. Maybe just trying to work with both Claridge and Olenek working together, maybe to draft back up the Topi, because one car on their own really can't do too much against it.
Yep, absolutely. As just watching Olenek now, and right in front of him is Claridge, and I think you might be right, but Chad, it looks like Claridge maybe just slowed down a little bit to try and let Rob get in that slipstream. As Claridge gets sideways in front of him actually, so this might give Rob the opportunity to try and get a run heading up to the chicane, or not into the chicane, but possibly on the exit.
Yeah, so if you're gonna let somebody catch up to you, I guess that's one way to do it. Hopefully the extra heat there in the tires don't have negative effects to it, because he is pushing very hard. He's sliding this car all over the racetrack as now they work their way through Rivazza. He's very slidey on entry, picks up the throttle here on corner exit, and keeps things pointed the right direction. And a fantastic bit of driving there from Mick Claridge to save that spin.
Yeah, absolutely was, as they come across the line now, and they it's right with Claridge now, and just in front of them got Courtniemi in front of them. But as Claridge takes loads of curves into turn 1 and just absolutely throwing that car around and riding on board with Rob now. I think Rob's just more than happy to sit behind it at the moment.
Yeah, these guys know it is a very long race. We're not even 25% of the way into it yet. And yeah, I mean, we've seen these guys with fantastic battles for 10, 15, 20 laps at many, many different tracks. Even last week at Twin Ring Motegi, it came down to the final lap. But Topi right now is really pulled away with it. Hopefully he's not driving his stuff too hard. Maybe he's just got something in his setup that's just a little bit better than the rest of these guys.
It's quite possible. I mean, with these goals, it gets it sideways on the exit there. But it's interesting. Some of these drivers like to set the car up with the tyre presses for hot track temperatures. Other drivers like to set the car up with tyre presses for low track temperatures. So it's a bit of an interesting variant in tyre pressures, you could say.
There have been issues for the number 25 of Roland Wallbank. He has taken his car back to the pits. A couple of guys already there as well, Louis Tolan and Baron Nekas, all three of them currently sitting in the pit lane taking repairs. So those are the only cars off the track at the moment. These guys have a clean bit of track up front in front of them before they get to any of the race traffic. As we cross the 5-lap mark, we are a quarter of the way through here, and it's still Topi with a considerable lead, but it looks like Mick is struggling a little bit out there. His car has been very, very slidey on a corner exit.
Yeah, it's something that Mick was speaking to me about this morning, actually. He said that the car seems to be a little bit more loose this season than it has been in previous seasons, so it's something that these guys, or drivers if you like, are having to kind of just cope with and to kind of like get their head around.
Yeah, it's a very technical track, and the track temperature right now 109 degrees. I mean, these guys, as they just fly around this racetrack, every little bit of track temp that it goes down is going to help the handling of these race cars. The hotter it is, the slicker it is. There you see the winds as well, 10 kilometers an hour from the south. So that's going to be basically coming, pushing you in the direction of Hrvatsa. It's coming across the racetrack. Basically as you come down the front straightaway, it's going to be coming from your left across to the right. So on some of these corners, especially when I'm thinking of like Tamburello, it can definitely be impacting you as you turn into that wind, trying to make the car get very tight, and kind of try to push you off the track.
Absolutely. As further back in the field as well, we're looking at the battle for 13th at the moment between Chris Barakami and it looks like Heidi Gorivisto in front of him. But yeah, battles up at the front and battles up back in the midfield as well going on.
Yeah, these guys absolutely not giving each other much room out there. You see them spread out just a little bit at the moment, but those cars have been fighting since the drop of the green flag. And it looks like just up in front of them, as well as Gwendolyn Old and Gary Teal, both very close to one another on track as well. So great fights all throughout this field, but still it's going to be Courtney Emmy leading the way, but P4 is Antti Kiernan holding on to that 4th position. He's gotten around Michel Dunanan. We're going to have to see if he can keep that spot. He's about half a second clear right now and has some work to be done, does Dunanan, to get that spot back. These guys are about 5 seconds behind the 3rd position. They don't have too much to push too hard for at this point because there's still plenty of racing left if something were to happen to some of those guys up in front of them. But your top 5 still Courtney Emmy, Olenek, and Claridge, then Carradine and Michel Dunanan. All the 3 that are fighting very hard there in the top 5. These guys have about 4 seconds back to Pekka Risto, who we've called his name quite a few times this season. Not yet able to break through onto the podiums, but Risto, you see him there. His best lap is 140.596. That is good enough for, I believe, the 5th fastest best lap of the race. Only five guys actually that are faster than him, all in the 139. So all in his lonesome there in the 6th position. He's got 3 seconds up out in front of him and 4 seconds back to Laust Olsen, currently running in the 7th spot. And speaking of Laust Olsen, he's in quite the battle with Robert Plumley. These guys, you see their lap times, they're very, very similar. They've got a little bit of a gap out in front that we just talked about, but Bill Tyler trying to join in this fray as well. That's the 3rd car, that white and blue machine that is right there as well. Bill Tyler, of course, charging hard through this field. Tyler is actually trying to work his way back up through the field. Had a miscalculation in turn 1 at the start, and he's dropped from 5th down to currently in the 9th spot. He's got some work to be done, as your leader's catching some lapped traffic now. It's going to be interesting to see how they can navigate through that. But these guys up in the mid-pack, they've got some hard fighting between them as we currently ride on board with Bill Tyler.
Heading into the chicane now as well, and yeah, Tyler had he was running well up at the front in the early stages of the race, but he also had a slowdown from what I've seen as well. So that's cost him a lot of time in a few places as well. So not something that you want right here is Tyler, I think, in the background locking up a little bit and just running wide ever so slightly. So just being a little bit scruffy at the moment.
Yeah, I love that onboard shot that we were looking at just a moment ago. The suspension travel in these cars is absolutely phenomenal to see. This is the battle for 4th once again, Antti Kärinen and Michel Dudenan. This is looking out the back of Kärinen's car, and he's feeling the pressure. Now only 3/10 of the gap. Dudenan really has cut into that quite a bit. You can see how much he's closing in right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Dudelan's maybe just playing the waiting game and just seeing how it pans out. But currently running in 5th place at the moment, and yeah, he's normally up there, right up at the front as well. But he seems to be this season anyway. He just seems to have fallen back a little bit. Not off the pace, but maybe just not up at the front as much. Maybe just a case of not enough practice, or just preferring to turn up to these races and just treating it as a bit of fun now.
Yeah, this is one of the shots I was talking about. Look at that front left, just under braking. You can see the front end dip down the suspension travel. And then how it handles the curves and the bumps is absolutely phenomenal to see. The attention to detail and how much work these guys put into their setups to make it not too stiff, but also able to handle all of the bumps that you give it. That shows why so much time goes into these guys making their setups. It's a great community because these guys share setups every single week to make sure that some guys that don't have the time to dedicate to it are able to be competitive, or at least have a comfortable setup that will work for the track they are given. We just had Topi Kortniemi. You saw it flash up there, turn the fastest lap of the race, but that was immediately eclipsed by Rob Olenek, who turned a lap at 2/100ths of a second faster. So the fastest lap right now is actually Mick Claridge had just turned it at a 1:38.802. And here's a huge off track. Wow, that was a huge moment there for Antti Kärinen. And he's going to have to give up that, or sorry, that was Robert Plumley that went off. Yep, Robert Plumley that went off there, but able to keep things out of trouble and not get into any contact. It's a fantastic bit of driving there. You see it going straight off across the gravel, and I think that's the best way to do it. You can really straight line that through the gravel because you don't have much control, of course, compared to being on the paved surfaces here. So any little bit that you can do to save your car and kind of keep yourself out of danger, that's one of the best places to do it. This is back up with Antti Kärinen as he's still trying to defend against Michel Dudenan. Last time by these guys, you can separate their laps by the 100ths of a second. Very similar laps over the last couple of laps as they are just absolutely flying. And thinking about peeking to the inside was Dudenan, but cutting off, shutting the door there was Antti Kärinen. Kärinen fantastically just holding on to that 4th spot.
Yeah, I noticed that Kärinen took a lot of left side curve in the chicane there, so I'm surprised that he never got a slowdown. But heading down this home straight, Dudelan's got the run. He goes to the outside because Kärinen takes the inside or defends the inside line, they're heading down to turn one. Who's going to be the last of the late breakers? It looks like De Jong's going to make a move on the outside. Can he get it done? Yes, he can. Fantastic move.
Yeah, and absolutely. Oh, well, fighting back is Kiernan. They're still side by side. Nope, just now tucking in is Antti-Kiernan. Going to lose that spot to Michel Dudenon, but they are still putting on a fantastic fight between the two of them. Up at the front, by the way, no changes. Courtney though, has expanded his gap to 4 seconds, and then Olenek said, I'm not going to wait around for McClaren any longer. He is starting to pull away just a little bit, as he's got about 1.2 seconds between himself and McClaren running third. This gap now back to fourth is up to 8 seconds, but then fourth and fifth, as you see on your screen, very close and fighting very hard with one another.
It was De Jong and Kieran head up to the chicane now, and De Jong just looks like he's pulling away ever so slightly, but Kieran's still doing well to keep up with him. So maybe Kieran is just going to play the waiting game and just see if he can try and keep or maintain that gap to De Jong.
And there's a considerable gap, of course, back from Kieran to Risto. But the field are really strung out considerably right now. This is the closest battle that I'm seeing on track. Let's drop all the way back to maybe that battle with Gary Teal and Chris Murakami. They're pretty clear. That's for 11th position. These guys were fighting very hard amongst each other. They put on a fantastic battle in the mid-pack last week at Twin Ring Motegi. But here in the Italian countryside of Imola, they are doing it once again, as Murakami just trying to hold on to that 12th spot from Will McDonald. Have to see if he can do it. This is where we saw that change for the 4th position not too long ago, and unfortunately McDonald not close enough to get that move done right there. Down 2 spots from where he started. He's still turning laps very close to his fastest of the race.
Yep, is rider on board behind Murakami as well. Murakami sneaks to the inside to try and make a move, but can't get it done. So at the moment, probably can't get a move done, and this is probably one of the sections of the track or parts of the track that you can't really make a move unless you're feeling brave. So maybe Murakami, if he gets a great run heading up to the chicane, he might be able to make a move there.
Yeah, through Pirotella, it was a very late turn in for Gary Teal. He started out a lot wider and used that to get the run off the corner, but there's huge trouble there. Wow, upside down and now into the gravel. We'll have to see how much damage there is to that car, but Gary Teal, wow, that was unfortunate to see. Let's take a look at what just happened there on the replay. It was into the chicane, and Chris Murakami, that car right behind, unfortunately, just makes the contact under braking, and then a fantastic pirouette back up onto all 4 tires, but Gary Teal, unfortunately, has towed his car back to the pit lane. Let's look at your leader, Topi Courtney. You saw the gap down that straightaway all the way back 4 seconds almost to Rob Olenek, and then Mick Claridge in the 3rd position. So still not too much has changed there. Claridge and Olenek have tightened themselves up a little bit once again. That gap now is under a second. And this is back for P4 once again. This is a battle we've watched quite a bit this race. These guys are not letting each other out of their sights, as Antti-Kiernan really wants to get that 4th spot back.
Yeah, he does. I had a feeling that Antti was maybe just going to sit behind and wait and see if he could maybe stay with De Jong. It looks like he is at the moment. And Kiernan, I think he's slightly quicker at the moment, but it's just a case of trying to get the move done as Kiernan gets a little bit sketchy under braking, heading into the chicane, and gets a decent run, but not close enough at the moment to make a move. Maybe I think if he can get a great run in the exit of the final quarter, he might be able to make a move down that home straight can't, as again Kiernan gets sideways under braking. Oh!
Very close between them there. What a moment. Man, let's take a look at the replay once again, because these guys have been pushing very hard to their limits, trying not to let each other gain any sort of advantages, pushing a little too hard there under braking. possibly a little ghost contact there. Well, but that does give Kerrigan the spot for now.
Absolutely, as at the moment, it seems to, it looks like the number 3 car of the Dunion is still going again, but the battle for P2 is it's starting to spice up now, as Rob Olenek is under attack from Mick Claridge, and Mick Claridge, I think, has had enough of waiting around, and in front of them, I think, they're coming up to a back marker, so this could play a factor, but at the moment, Courtenay's away and gone.
Yeah, that was Robert Reynolds. They just went by, and I think we saw a little bit of bump drafting there between them. That's not something you see too often. I think Mick Claridge took a little bit of offense to maybe what he would consider a block from Olenek. We'll have to watch these guys, and we'll talk to them, of course, after the race, assuming they finish on the podium once again. But yeah, these guys they've been fighting the entire race and the entire season for the most part as they go by another back marker. And the one thing that I appreciate in this series is how respectful the drivers are of the faster cars. They realize that, you know, they aren't the fastest guys on track, and they're very respectful and willing to yield their place on track to let these guys go by without impacting their battle.
Yeah, that's the thing with this community as well. There's a lot of respect. The driving standards are good, and all these drivers help each other with stuff like setups. So it's always good to see. But at the moment, riding on board the Claridge heading through turn 1, turn 2, and turn 3, I think again he's starting to close that gap and all in it. But it's just a case of where can he get the move done, or can he get the move done? But I think Rob Olenek not making it easy for him by any means.
Yeah, that's one of the things I've noticed about the smaller, more niche communities here on iRacing, whether it's here or some other series like the Pro Mazdas that only might see 1 or 2 splits during the entire week. The communities are great, the driving stands are fantastic, and these guys are proof of that with everything that they do to help one another out, both on and off the track. Mick Claridge still fighting very hard. This is the section where Olenek really seemed to struggle a little bit. He's wiggled the last couple times through that corner, but now under braking once again through the chicane and really getting aggressive with that curb is Mick Claridge.
Yeah, absolutely. I've noticed he seems to be very aggressive with the curbs in turn 1 and turn 2 as well. He seems to take a lot of it, and I'm surprised that he's not had any spins doing that, or even like big damage to his car. But at the moment he seems to be fine as Olenek and Claridge come onto the home straight now, and Claridge try and get a run, head down to turn 1, and I don't think he's going to be close enough this time around.
Now there's a huge wiggle from Claridge coming out of the chicane, but he was able to catch it, and now he's just going to try to use his pure speed to get around, but too far back to make a move. We'll have to see on exit where he can, but yeah, clipping those curbs once again was Claridge, and that unfortunately caused him to lose just a little bit of time, and that shows how much he is pushing to catch it back up to Rob Olenek.
Yep, as they head round the hairpin now, and still Olenek is holding that position, but Claridge is not giving up by any means. And I think if I was Claridge, I would maybe just wait maybe a couple of laps to try and make a move, and just see where you can make a move and see where. Oh, is someone's off the track there and rejoins just in front of them, and oh, that was Courtenay.
Wow, I didn't even notice that. Wow, that's incredible. Courtenay had a huge moment. Let's go back and see if we can't figure out what just happened to Topi, because that's the first mistake we've seen him make almost all season, it seems like. Trying to see where on track this was. Was this the chicane? Wow, he didn't even lose it in the corner. He got off before the corner, but I believe he was able to keep it out of the wall. And wow, Toby Courtenay, huge moment there. He's got some work to do if he wants to win this race. He's still got 5 laps to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, Claridge just took the lead now, and Olenek's trying to take the lead back as they come across the line now, and Courtenay is still very much involved in this battle. All three head down to turn 1 and turn 2, and Claridge is managing to hold the lead, but Olenek needs to, or Olenek has to back out of it, as all three close together now, and Yeah, I thought that's a turn up for the books.
Yeah, I'll have to ask Courtney what's going through his mind right now as he tries to get those positions back, because he's led every lap so far up until that last one, and he's still right there in the thick of things. You know, he's not lost. You know, he lost his lead, of course, but he hasn't lost time to the leaders, as he is now right there and fighting very, very hard there with Claridge and Olenek. And this is the racing we've seen all season long. Oh, and Claridge back end stepping out, and that's going to open the door for Olenek. And they're side by side for the lead once again.
Absolutely, and just ahead of them as well, they've got a back marker to contend with as Claridge goes over the anti-cuts and bounces in the air, and this gives Olenek an opportunity to retake the lead heading up to the chicane. Will Courtney try and make a move as well? It looks like he's trying to stick his nose up there in his contact.
Oh no! Courtney very ambitious there, and I think he's going to wait to try to give that position back. He doesn't want to lose too much time to your leader though, and that's unfortunate. Go look back at this once again. That was Claridge, unfortunately, that got spun around. Now look at the replay, and I think Claridge might just not have been expecting him to follow through, but able to keep things pointed the right direction. Claridge, though, from first now down to third, as Courtney in the second spot, about 8 seconds back. I think he's going to give that spot up to, give it back to Olenek. We'll have to see how these guys finish out this race, because it's been very testy the last couple laps, especially for Topi Courtney.
Yeah, I think Topi was maybe just sticking his nose in somewhere where he couldn't really make a move, because Claridge is in front of him, and that's again, you can't really go too wide through there. And unfortunately, Topi just, it wasn't intentional. It's just one of those racing deals. But good to see good sportsmanship from Topi and giving that position back.
Yeah, I was just about to mention that as well. We were talking about how great the community is, and you just saw it right there. He gave the spot right back. We're going to jump back to another close battle on track, the battle for the 7th position. Looks like Bill Tyler has gotten around Laust Olsen for that spot. And that just happened a couple of corners ago, but now about a second between them. And they've only got 3 laps to go here, 2.5-ish laps to go, actually, as these guys now absolutely flying out there. And this is Topi Courtney and Mick Claridge side by side once again. I think there might be some steering damage there for the car of Mick Claridge, because he is very, very squirrely even down the straightaways, just struggling to keep the car pointed in the right direction. But he is feeling the pressure once again from Topi Courtniemi. We'll have to see how things play out between them, because they've still got only 2 more laps to try to get this 2nd position figured out.
Indeed, as both of them are still close together now, and as Claridge goes onto the grass, he gets sideways and manages to save it. Whoa!
Another fantastic piece of driving there from Claridge to save that race car. He had all 4 tires in the grass, sideways in a slide, and yet able to catch it. He's going to come back here on Topi Courtniemi, who's going to side by side. Wow! These guys able to run so close to one another, but Courtniemi holds on to the 2nd spot for now.
Absolutely, as Claridge is not giving up. He throws it back up the inside and retakes the position from Topi, and fantastic battle between these two as we ride on board with Claridge. And I'm amazed that Claridge never spun or even hit the wall with that sideways moment. That was just great car control.
Yeah, back and forth, and it looks like Topi thinking about making that move once again in the chicane. Can they pull it off this time? Oh, almost contact again there as Claridge gets onto the curb, and it shoots him to the right, but able to keep it out of Courtniemi. They're still side by side.
I am amazed that they never had contact for a second time through that chicane. Like I was saying, both that Claridge is not willing to give up, neither is Topi, and fantastic battle between these guys.
What more can you say? These guys have just been putting on an incredible drive, but right now Topi just holding on to the 3rd spot. They've got a considerable 6-second gap back to Antti-Kärinen, so they can fight just a little bit. Of course, you don't want to lose your step on the podium to these guys.
Yeah, absolutely not. As both of these guys head for a turnaround in turn 2, and Toppy takes a lot of care, but it even goes right up over the anti-cuts. As Claridge again gets sideways, and a bit of blocking from Claridge there. That was a bit naughty.
That was an incredible save. Once again, the last couple of times he's gone through that corner, he has gone wide there and gotten onto the grass and kind of lost the back end, but able to catch it once again. Topi Courtnier, though, not able to capitalize on that move, as all this is doing is letting Raul Olenek pull away even more, as now he is coming through Aqua Minerale with a couple of more corners to go for him to see victory here on the final lap at Imola.
As this battle for second place is coming through the chicane now, and still it's Claridge holding second place, but Toppy, I think if he gets close enough, I wouldn't be surprised if you see a send from him. But looking at the leader, Rob Allnick, coming around the final corner to take the win.
4 wins on the season, only 5 races in. This is 3 in a row for Rob Olenek. And the battle for second still not over yet. As Olenek across the line, now it's Claridge going to probably take second. Courtniemi has some speed, but can't get the move done. So it's going to be Olenek, then Claridge, and Courtniemi, your top 3. Can Dudanon hold on to the 4th spot? He can, then Karanen. And then Pecoristo looking to take home the 6th position. As he's got a little bit of a gap all the way back to some of these guys like Bill Tyler and Laust Olsen. Just a couple of more cars coming across the line. This is Grinzinger and Massa. And Eugenio Massa really seems to be struggling here on his home track, which is interesting. We've seen him have some fantastic drives so far this season.
Yeah, absolutely. Both of these guys come up to the chicane now, and I think Michael might have just done enough to hold the position, but I think Eugenio might try and make a little sneak up the inside. If he gets close enough, he's getting close enough. Will he make a move up the inside? He's going for it.
Yeah, he's on the inside going into Rivazza. But who's going to have the advantage here on exit? Down out of the final corner, Massa got the position. He's going to have to fight hard to hold on to it. A little bit of blocking there. At the line, it was Massa. Fantastic battle there at the end for the 17th position. So we're going to step aside for just a matter of moments, and then we will be back for some post-race interviews and a full rundown of your fields here from the Grand Prix Legends at Imola. You're watching the Global Sim Racing channel. A fantastic fight once again, coming down to the last couple of laps. But in the end, it's Rob Olenek winning once again after a hard-fought battle there between himself, Claridge, and Topi. But they finish one, Rob Olenek, then Mick Claridge and Topi Courtniemi, Michelle Dudon and Antti Kerinen wrapping up your top 5. Then Pekka Risto, Bill Tyler, Laus Olsen, Robert Plumley in 9th, and Gwendolyn Old wrapping up your top 10.
Finishing in 11th was Chris Marikami with Will McDonald in 12th. 13th was Hideki Koivisto, Dave Cohen in 14th after starting 19th. John Olsen finishes in 15th with Andre Eng 16th. 17th going to Eugenio Massa. 18th Michael Bringsinger. Steve O'Malley 19th, and rounding out the top 20 was Douglas Nelson with the rest of the results with Robert Reynolds in 21st, 22nd Gary Teal. And then the retirements from the race, Gary Teal was the first of the retirements with Roland Wallbach 23rd, Baron Neckis in 24th, and Lewis Tolan in 25th.
And we're joined in the booth by a man that's getting very familiar with the top step of the podium. Rob, just tell us about your race.
Got lucky today. Went into the race not really thinking I was going to win. I thought Topi and Mick had me. It was the races this week were actually really fun, and it was really good battles. It was a shame that, for a good portion of the race, like we had little gaps between us, because it's really hard to pass. But the guy that's right behind the other guy, it can really bother him and experiment with all kinds of different moves and stuff. It's just so hard to get the move done. But the race starts out. I had an awful start. And then I think I made contact with Mick in the first chicane corners. And I thought my suspension was damaged at first. It felt weird and a little wiggly, but after a couple corners, I was like, I think it's fine, which is the first bout of luck. And then Topi was running an excellent race. He was putting in awesome laps. I think Mick had got a slowdown, and I easily got by him from that. And when I was trying to chase down Topi, he was putting in such good laps that I started pushing too hard and making little mistakes, letting Mick, catch back up to me to create things hard. And I knew when he was close that there's no way we're going to catch Topi. And then I actually thought it was a back marker that was off. And I didn't realize it until I was like coming out of the slow chicane, looking at the relative, and I saw it was Topi. And I'm not sure if it was that lap or maybe the next one, but then I think I actually messed up enough that I went off. And it was just I got super lucky. It was a super fun battle though for the short period. I mean, I guess looking at it, when you put three of us that close together, there's no way that's going to last a long time. But good race by those guys. I just was the lucky one this week. I was telling Mick the same thing. He was saying he was struggling a little with the setup and stuff, and I was like, I think it's really just I'm having a good run of luck right now, and he's having a little run of not good luck, and I think today is a perfect example of how luck can actually win you the race.
Yeah, next week might be a battle of attrition as we head to Mount Panorama. What are your thoughts there? Because it's one of the most treacherous tracks we've seen all season.
Probably my favorite track. Doesn't mean that I'm the fastest there, but I love driving it. I just think up on the mountain is awesome. It's like a super fast street course up there. And I think it'll be really fun. I know Mick's always been super fast there. And hopefully I'm a little quicker, but we'll see. And Topi, I don't know if he's raced there or not. And hopefully Michelle comes back too. It was really cool to see him back. I guess he's had some back pain lately and hasn't been racing, but hopefully that gets fixed because Michelle's really fast there too. And there's other guys too. Antti Kiernan's getting pretty quick too, but I think it's going to be a fun race. It's a great track.
Yeah, I have to give quick congratulations to Kiernan. He was talking about he had almost had his fourth place finish, but unfortunately had a slowdown that he had to serve. But man, it was a fantastic race to watch. Who do you have to thank? We were talking about the community here and how great you guys are amongst one another, but just kind of talk about who you have to thank and who helped get you here.
I would say I want to thank Mick and Topi first for my victory because they let me have it. And then Grand Prix Legends community, you guys, and Dirty Torque Racing.
Hey, congratulations on another win. We'll see you next week down in Mount Panorama.
Thanks. See you guys.
That's Rob Olenek, your winner here from Imola. It looks like up next, Ryan, you've caught up with our second place finisher, McClarridge.
Yeah, Mick Claridge was involved in that fantastic battle with Topi Cortinemi, and Mick, that was a good battle between you and Topi, and it got a bit feisty towards the end. How was that battle for you?
Oh, didn't it? Yeah, it was good fun at the end. My car, well, yeah, had a bit of damage after the hit in the chicane, so it was. It's sometimes what happens is you probably know yourself, mate. You get a little bit of damage, and your car actually speeds up through certain corners and slows down badly in other, or something changes and it's just a bit different. So that's what happened. It was really good through left-handers after the hit, but I just couldn't get the power down out the left-handers, and it was like really tight in the right-handers. And once I got used to it, it weren't too bad. It takes you a couple of laps to get used to it, but it was a bit scary. But yeah, I knew coming out of some corners I'd be able to sort of get some good advantages over Topi at the end there. It's good fun, a good battle, even though the car was a bit bent. Didn't mind that. It was pretty good after that.
Yeah, talking of Topi as well, it looked like he was away and gone at one point, and towards the end.
Oh, well, he had it, didn't he? He had it.
Yeah, he had a big gap as well, and we thought he was off and gone as well, and until he got a bit sketchy under braking and then caught the grass, I think, and spun into the gravel. And from then on, it was a great battle to watch between you, Rob, and Topi. And unfortunately, Rob was the one that benefited from you and Topi getting caught up and managed to pull away. But looking ahead to Bathurst next week, what do you think, and what do you think you can take the win there?
Oh, God knows, because I know I messaged you this morning. The car has changed. It's just so lively on the rear end now, and it's sort of it's not unpredictable, but it's just a lot harder to get the power down in general. So places like Bathurst and stuff. Bathurst is hard would be hard in a bloody railway train on tracks. So, I mean, I don't know, man. Bathurst is just going to be a nightmare. I think it's going to be an absolute nightmare trying to get the car around there, but hopefully the weather's not too hot, which it probably will be. I know it's their winter now. Hopefully it's not. So, yeah. But let me just say, I just wanted to say, regards to the battle today, when Topi came off, because I was just slowly reeling in Rob, after I made a load of mistakes. And as I was catching him, he was starting to make more mistakes. He made a couple of real heavy ones, and and then we saw Topi coming back on the track, and I actually didn't know it was Topi until I saw the manner in which he was coming back on the track. I just looked at it and I just thought, yeah, that's Topi. And then it just made me laugh, just the way he was coming back on, desperate to get back on in front of us, But all in all, the main thing I was going to say, I know I'm babbling, out of the three of us, Rob drove the best. I think I might have had him on edge, just slightly on pace, but not too sure. Yeah, out of all three of us, Rob drove by far the best out of us, so it's a deserved win for him.
And lastly, before we let you go, Mick, anyone that you want to give a shout out to, even though I probably know what the answer is coming.
Well, you tell me then.
The Mackenzie boys.
And what don't you do?
Don't mess with them.
There you go.
Well, again, congratulations on second place, Mick. It's not the win, but it's still a podium position, and look forward to seeing you at Bathurst next week. Yeah,
cheers, mate. And I have to say one thing, Ryan. You are the best commentator on the planet.
Oh, you're such a sweet talker. But that was Mick Claridge finishing in second place, and I believe up next, Chad, you've got the third place finisher, Topi Cortinemi, with you.
Yeah, Topi, it doesn't seem like this is the interview you really want to be having, man. I just got to ask, what happened out there?
I was doing fine. I was hitting my apexes and brake markers, and I shouldn't have had any troubles there, but I just suddenly found myself in a spin. I think I dropped 2 wheels to the grass. The braking, I don't remember the name of the turn, but it's the fast left-hander before Acqua Minerale, and fortunately I didn't stall the car, but the guys got past, just barely, but they got past, so I was still in a little bit of red mist, I think, and tires were still overheating, and went a bit wide in the chicane and hit Mick, and I think it was my fault, so I shouldn't have made that move. Going in a 3-pack into that chicane, it's just silly. Shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, it was very unfortunate to see how that race played out for you. But you put on a spectacular show, and up until, of course, those last handful of laps, you did a great bit of driving. Next week, we head to Bathurst. Are you looking forward to that track?
Oh yeah, I've never raced this, but it looks fun.
Yeah, it's going to be a fantastic race to call. I'm absolutely sure of it. Now, I will tell you that Olenek said that it was his favorite track, so you might have a bit competition there for the win. But out of the tracks coming up, we've got Mount Panorama, going to the Chicago Street Circuit, which is going to be interesting. Anywhere on the schedule that stands out to you?
I think Spa will be nice. I think it's the ninth or 10th race this season, I think. But I'm really getting worried about Rob getting away in the championship.
Yeah, he's done a fantastic bit of driving over the last couple of weeks. And you guys have been right there with them. You top 3 have really pulled away from the rest of the competition every week. So it's been fun to watch. Do you have anybody you want to say hello to? Any shout outs?
Any friends if they're watching, but of course you guys, I think the rest of the guys have said the same, but it's so nice to have a good race and then afterwards relax and watch it back with your commentary. It's really nice.
We appreciate the compliment, and man, it's been fantastic watching you this season so far, and we'll hope to see you the rest of the way. That is your third place finisher, Topi Kortniemi, and it was unfortunate bit of driving that cost him the win, but hopefully we'll see him on the top step of the podium next week over at Mount Panorama. But as we wrap things up here, we have to provide thanks to the companies that give us the hardware and software for our broadcasts. They'll be listed here on your screen. Additional thanks to June Lalonde, who provides our wonderful music. See the screen on for how to get a hold of more of her great work. Thanks to the entire squad today. For Ryan, Sean, and Dougie, I'm Chad. If you'd like to find more about GSRC, including upcoming races, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com, or you can check out our social media outlets listed at the bottom of the screen. And if you'd like to support the channel, go check out our merchandise store at simracingmerch.com/GSRC. The link is in the description below. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well, so you don't miss a moment here on GSRC. We also have upcoming races for other series listed on the screen, so make sure to check those out and mark them down on your calendar. Until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.